What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be building our list clone part 2. To-do lists, not a clone, just our to-do list. We're going to be building that. And I have set up some stuff, so let's get started. Let's jump into VS Code, and I'm going to change the view. So hopefully you guys can see the screen. Here's what we're ended up with. I have just removed the border of our list. And I have got rid of the background color that we had in the last video. So let's just get started. So first of all, we want to find out why this button is not clickable. And if you wanted to know, I actually have a padding of 4 pixels, so that's why this is actually a little bit spaced. So the reason this doesn't have padding is because the reason it's not clickable is because we're just using a normal button. But we need to use something called an icon button. So right now we have a list. This is as good as I can draw it. So this is our trash can right now, our delete button. But right now we can't click it. So the way we click it is we need to wrap around something called an icon button. So an icon button, if we do that, it'll be a button, so we can click it and it'll have that nice little ripple effect. So let's get started by doing that. So I'm going to let's go back to VS Code. Let's go back to VS Code. So in here we have so we can click it. Now we need to wrap the trash can around with a icon button. Come here and we come to our checkbox our body.js. We just have the icon. And if you remember, we should put this in an icon button. Now, what is an icon button? An icon button is simply a button with the properties for an icon. Only icons to be wrapped around it, because it's going to be a perfect circle, and if we put text in it, it's going to become an oval and it's going to look weird. So here it is. That's how we do it. But as soon as we do this, it's gonna say like, what's an icon button? An icon button is not an HTML element. It's actually something from Material UI. So we actually have to do this. We do this and tab. Oh my god. Tab. Oh my god. I actually have to. It's making me do the thing automatically by myself. Thanks. Here, I want to import it from Material UI. So, icon button. Icon button from Material UI core. And we can come here. We can get rid of the list item icon. We actually don't really need that because we're going to use an icon button. We are using list item text. I don't know why it's saying grayed out. Now, it's actually had some padding, and we can click on it like a button. And it has a nice little ripple effect to indicate that it's a button, and it has a hover effect, making the background a little bit darker, with giving it an opacity. So that's perfect. Now let's go back to VS Code, and we're going to be starting by implementing Firebase. So if you don't know what Firebase is a database as a service. So let me show you. The Firebase is a database as service. It is basically a container. It's a container. It's a container with all of our data for creating our databases. So I'm going to be pulling that up right now. So when you head over to Firebase, you want to create an account. And after you create an account, we can click on go to the console. But if you already have a Firebase, if you already have a Google account, which everybody needs to have, you can just use that. So I'm going to be pulling up our project. So here we are, Control Alt. So now that you can see Firebase, we're going to open up our app settings. We want to come here and we want to click onto the config. But we don't have Firebase. So we're going to copy that and we're going to say, go here and I'm going to say Control J. And we're going to click on the plus icon. Plus. And we would say npm I Firebase. But not just Firebase, we're going to do a different version of it. Paste. It's going to be called at 8.1.0. So 8.1, 8.10.0. Yeah, 8.10.0. So as soon as we do that, it might take a while, but we're gonna do this. We want to copy everything in the config. So copy. And we're gonna have to do some stuff which doesn't really make sense, but yeah, we'll have to do that, and then that will be basically easier. If you know a little bit about Firebase, this part will be very easy. But since we're using the older version, it's a different version, which I just personally love. Then you might understand or you might not. So let's just do that. While that's happening, I'm going to pause the video. Now that you can see me, we can just wait for that. So that might take a while, and while that's happening, we can actually do this. Wait, let's go here, Control Alt 1. While that's happening, we can actually come here and we can do the stuff we're going to use. We actually need the Firestore database, so come here to the Firestore database, and we actually have our database ready to go. If you don't have your database ready to go, just go ahead, go to the Firestore database, click on new, and just go ahead and go with the flow and do everything up. So that's happening right now. So we might have to wait. While that's happening, let's go ahead and close all of our files, because I don't want my computer crying. There. We'll close everything, and I'm going to structure all of that. So I can just come here, and I'm going to create a new file called, I'm in the source. I want to go on the source, and I want to click on new, and I want Firebase .js. And the default association I set for JS is React. So come over here and just say JavaScript. Do this script. And so that's loading right there. So while that's happening, those of you who don't know what Firebase is, Firebase is its own little So Firebase is its own little database of where you can store your own data. It'll have a lot of stuff packed into it, making it easier for you to make a database. This is actually like a NoSQL database, so it's called Firestore, and there's actually a SQL database as well. But we will be using the NoSQL database because who wants to learn SQL? Yeah, I actually don't know SQL, so we can just use the Firestore database. Hopefully, this is gonna load faster. So in the Firebase.js, we're gonna import. Oh, you can't see it. You guys can see it, right? Yeah. So in here, we want to say import Firebase from the Firebase module. After you import that, we're not gonna just go ahead and paste all the config and create our app, blah blah blah. We have to use a separate I don't know how to say it, but we have to do it in a different way. So we have to say var app. I actually don't recommend var, I say let's app. And we're not gonna initialize it, and we're gonna say if, we're gonna say firebase dot apps dot length is equal to 0. Then we want to just say app equals Firebase, and we have a guest that can come. Say hi, Zeta. Hi. She's back again. She comes in she has come since the last video, and we are super proud to bring her in. So, tell them about yourself, Zeta.
My name is Zahra, and I do HTML.
She's an HTML developer. She's a front-end developer, and she just makes web pages. So while that happens, I'm going to create a Firebase.init initialize app with my config, and I can't let you guys see it, so I'm going to put the video so you guys only can see me, and yeah, and then I'm gonna paste all of that config, and then don't worry, you guys can see the Firebase.js file, but you guys just can't see the object. So here it is. You guys can see now. Since Firebase is already installed, it says 10 vulnerable. Oh my gosh, no, don't worry about that. We need an initialize app with all of our config. My config is in here, but I don't want to show you guys it. And after that, else, if it actually has a length of more than 0, then I want to say app equals to Firebase.app. Firebase.app is just an app. Optional name of the app to return if no name is provided. The default is defaults, which is already an app. And then I want to say enter. I want to say db const db equals Firebase. Firebase.firestore? No. App.firestore. And we want to pass in nothing. If you did Firebase.firestore, you would have to pass in the app, but we don't need to. And we're going to say export default. And we're going to say export default database. So since we're done with that, I want to go to the app.js. And here, since we have our header, we want to create a we're not going to, first of all, we're going to say how to return the data. So we're going to return it in a way. So we're going to get, say, on const on add. So in this video, we're going to be learning how to append in Firebase. In the next video, we're going to learn how to get the data back from Firebase. So we're going to say on add to do. We're going to say it equals to an arrow function. In here, I want to say, as soon as we click on the button called add to do, we're going to run on add to do. So on click, on click, I want to say add on add to do. Yeah, thank you, IntelliSense. I was playing a blank there. So from here I want to create a state. You'll see why. Use state. First of all, I want to import it from React. So we get it there. Use state. We import it from React. I don't see where it is. I don't know if we have it or not, but I think we have it. So let's just do this. We're going to create a state and we're going to call it what should we? Oh yeah. So we're gonna create a dialog, right? So dialog, set dialog by default is gonna be false, and you'll see why later. So I want to say on add to do. I want to say get a variable e. I want to say e dot prevent defaults, and now I'm going to create the dialog. So hopefully, if we can get to the Firebase part, we will. We're gonna say dialog. A dialog. Get that dialog from @material_UI/core. It's a function we can. It is a component we can get, like right there. So it's a automatically styled dialog that we can use. So and the dialog takes some mandatory props, like if it's gonna be open or not. Open is gonna equal to. For now, let's just set it to true. As soon as we do that, we can come here and we can't do anything. Ah, what do I do? Okay, no. You don't have to get scared because this is something that it automatically does. So dialog is gonna have two inputs in it. So I want to say dialog, and in the dialog we have a few stuff. We have dialog actions, the content. I want to get the actions. Dialog actions. So we actually get dialog actions. And we also need dialog content and the content text. We have the dialog content, hopefully. No, we don't. And we need the content text. We need import. We have all of those imported. Now we can just, in here, I want to say two inputs. So I want to get the inputs. No, it's called as the text field. So text field for material UI. For text field from @material_UI/core. Go up and we get text field. We're going to be having two text fields in here. So the first text field before our text field, above there will be two. There are going to be two text fields, and in here there are going to be two text fields. And in here I want to say dialog content text, dialog content text, and then I want to dialog content text, and in there I want to have the text saying. In here we actually have that, and then we can pass in some props. Control space. We have all of that. I want to say we can actually open. Can we do that? Like primary? Is it ever? No. I'm just gonna make it turn it into a typography. So typography, which is also from Material UI. Oh, alias typography. Actually have it up here, so text field, no, typography. And then in the typography, we're gonna say a variance equals to it's gonna be a variant of an H4, and in it, it's gonna say hi. It's gonna say the first one is gonna be right. So the first one is gonna be for our text field. The first text field is gonna be about the to-do name. So to-do name. Then the second one, you can use the shortcut Shift Alt and then the down arrow key, and then you can put that. And then we're gonna say, so in here, this is gonna be the text field for the to-do name, and this is gonna be the text field for the to-do description. I don't know if I spelled that right or not, but let's just do this. The first one is gonna have a label, because labels just look good. Label of, so just so they don't get confused, it's gonna say to do name, and on the other one, because description is such a big word, I'm gonna copy it and say label equals to this label. And when we do that, we have a two little stuff. But this dialog will have a few class names because right now it looks so bad. Class name equals, we're gonna give it a class name of the dialog, and we're gonna give it some padding. So in the app.css, we're gonna come here to the app.css, and I don't know how I forgot to get rid of everything. So wait, what? Does this still have a class of .app? No, it has a class name of app. I'm gonna get rid of all of that, and I'm gonna say dialog. That's actually an element in HTML, but we want to use the Material UI element. So dot dialog. In there, I want to say the values are going to be on padding of 10 pixels. So it's actually going to push everything. I believe it's going to push everything. Wait, why is it not pushing? Refresh the page. I don't know why it's not working. So I'm going to say, gonna have a, I don't know if this, oh right, first I'm gonna say display flex. I don't know what flex box is for, but it's flex. I'm gonna say align items center. Already applied, and we just need to say justify content center. That's back to normal. Now we can do this. We can say padding. And now it should have a padding 10 pixels. Justify content center. But first of all, I'm gonna create. I'm gonna give this to-do list. Each of these pieces of text will be the inputs will have The input will be variant equals filled. The filled ones look way better. But now I want it to be bigger. So W is going to take up 50% of the screen. So width 50%. 50 money. Content of it. It's gonna be wrapped in a div. Okay. Div. I'm gonna create a div and I'm gonna wrap all of this. What? And we do that, and we need to do alt up into there, and we're going to say style equals to an object with a padding colon going to be 10 pixels. So if we do that, apparently it'll do that. And I think I should make these all smaller. So I'm gonna make these. I have a few things, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be a body too. Just to make it a little bit smaller. So actually gonna be really small. So I'm just gonna show you what body twos look like. That's actually perfect. So and then I'm gonna say it might be hard for you guys to see, so I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this turn into a H6, not 5.6, and H6. H6. So now it'll be easier for you guys to see it, to new name, to do description. Now in VS Code, I'm going to go and I'm going to say class name, dialog, open true, padding 10 pixels. So that's actually all for the dialog. I'm going to say come here, and this is going to be dialog. So dialog, save. And I'm going to on that to do, I'm going to say set dialog to true. Save. We're almost done with the dialog. So we can say on the click, add on that to do. It pops it up. There are going to be two actions. So I'm going to say on the bottom, we're going to have the everything will be in the div inside of the dialog. I'm going to go to the end. And I want to say dialog action. The dialog actions or dialog actions is going to have two buttons. So button is also from material icon. I actually want to use that. It's going to be the first one is going to be primary. Color is equal to primary. Primary. Why did I always accidentally click on control 1? In here, I want to say the first one is primary. The second one is going to be secondary. Secondary. We should have two buttons on the bottom, but we can't see them. This button will have a title. Title, I think it's called title. Title is gonna be equal to, this one is gonna be close. I'm gonna say variance equal contained. I'm gonna turn this into mountain closing tag. And this button will have close. Button. First button will be saying close. No screens. And this should be the first button. It's gonna be, and the second one will be just the same, but it will say this will also have the variant of contains. So variance equals, I don't know what I'm doing here. Material UI React mix. What? I'm gonna say add. I'm gonna close it like that. Flash button. So as soon as we do that, we actually have the other button hopefully showing up. Yep, close and add. Close and add to do, I think. Yeah, that's what I said. So it wasn't weird. So that's perfect. But right now, add to do and close, don't do nothing. So on click close, I'm actually just gonna do inline functions for these. On click, both of these will have the same for now, but in the next video, we're gonna be adding stuff. On click, I want to say delete. On click, I want to run the delete function. No, it's gonna be an arrow function. Just set dialog to false. And I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to escape. I'm going to paste that. There. So both of these buttons for now just close the thing. So close. So that's it for this video, guys. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment to this video, share this video to others so that they can learn about all of these technologies. So that's it. Peace out.